gender-based violence. The SABC has been doing a beautiful campaign that has been focusing on gender-based violence, not just at a particular moment of the year, but it seems like it's going to be a long-term campaign that aims to educate you and I around what we can do to really focus on lessening gender-based violence, not just in South Africa, but in many communities here on the African continent. And today we're going to be looking at a vulnerable group in our gender-based violence conversation. We're going to be looking at what is known as elder abuse, which encompasses physical, emotional, sexual, and financial harm. I think when we speak about GBV, we can easily locate it and limit it to partners, to maybe even parenting. But at times we forget that there are the elderly in our communities, and that also falls in this prism of GBV. Today we'll be speaking to Barbara Kambanyati, CEO and founder of Bold Dialogue. We examine the forms of violence inflicted upon elderly individuals, the systematic barriers to reporting and intervention, and the legal and social frameworks designed to protect this population. So many conversations coming up, Ali.
Absolutely. Happy Monday to you and yours. We're happy to have you. More conversations coming up in the second hour. It's time for our African View debate in that hour of the show. Really love that debate, taking a look at a contentious issue here on the African continent. Recently in South Africa, the courts have ruled that there can be equal parenting leave for both men and women who had just had a child, and that's going to be the basis of our debate in today's second hour. And we're asking the question, should men who are not primary caregivers, that's very important part, right? Men who are not the primary caregivers to the children be entitled to parental leave? Of course, as usual, we'll bring in two guests who are going to debate this issue. One saying, yes, absolutely, they should have and should be entitled to that parental leave. And another side saying, well, if they're not the primary caregivers, perhaps not. Where do you stand on this particular issue?
Yeah, and then our fitness feature is going to be a little bit of an interesting one, dynamic conversation. We're going to be speaking to a fitness coach and a digital content creator who's done a very interesting experiment online, and he's created a project that is titled Becoming as Dodla. It's very interesting. It means becoming obese, right? I don't know how you can call this Dodla in normal English language.
Yeah.
What's this Dodla?
So just like you can say fat, but also just gaining weight essentially.
Yeah,
so
fat person. I don't know if you still
fat person. I don't know.
Do you still call people fat?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure if I like that.
Essentially, the journey is about gaining weight, right? This person is a fitness instructor who went on an intentional mission to showcase his journey becoming, overweight or gaining a lot of weight. He ended up gaining 30 kilograms, but then the challenge changes from becoming as Dodla to becoming as Gora, meaning going back to becoming, fit, muscular and healthy. And he then goes back and documents that journey as well. And he'll be joining us here in our studios, and perhaps he can explain a little better.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Helping us understand what are the habits that we can actually deal with as we gain weight, but also what are the habits that we can also learn in losing weight. Remember, this is a place where you can interact. You can become part of the Channel Africa family physically. You can join us on our live stream. You can see us in studio. You can see our guests that we have as we chat about all these subject matters. So join us on YouTube. We use that handle at Channel Africa 1. We're going live right now. And as well, you can join us on a live stream on our Facebook page. We also have you there. So do join us and let's get into the fun. It's a new week. It's a new way to see the world and see the beautiful continent, of course. And we do that in the African perspective.
Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le Diamant Diamant Rouge aka Bina l'export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
All right, it is 12 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African Time. I hope that the new week is going to be a great one for you. And we're going to start it with our gender-based violence conversation. It affects people in different demographics. And we usually forget the elderly when we have the gender-based violence conversation. Yet the experiences of elderly survivors is one that we should talk about because it's highly unrecognized and underreported. And today we're going to be speaking about what is called elder abuse, which encompasses physical, emotional, sexual, financial harm, frequently environments where victims are dependent and vulnerable. Older adults, particularly women, face unique challenges including social isolation, stigma, and limited access to support services. Our friend on the show is Barbara Kamba Nyati, who is the CEO and founder of Bold Dialogue, also an author, a lifestyle and wellness coach. Barbara, it's always great having you on the show. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Benjamin.
Yeah,
Morning.
when we talk about GBV, we forget about the elderly, as I just mentioned in that intro. Why is it that that's the case?
I think most of the times people are so preoccupied with with what is happening to the young people. We forget that even the elderly people are also experiencing the challenges that we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the awareness campaigns or the activism is around young people. And when people say women, I don't know why we forget the elderly. It's maybe people who can still be productive, physically able, maybe childbearing age range there. We tend to forget our elders that they can also be victims, and they actually are victims of abuse.
Is it because we live in a culture that's ageist, or is it more complicated than that?
I think it's way deeper than just being ageist. We can take it back to pre-colonialist times, whereby families lived together, you know. We lived as families and everything. After colonialism, families were fragmented. Young people moved maybe to the cities, leaving the elderly in the villages. And because of life happening and the traumas related to the separation, people became more concerned about the people they have with them in their immediate families, because that's who they had, that's who they see every day, and sort of forgot about the elderly people.
Yeah. You know, Barbara, we can really pinpoint some of the most fragile people or individuals in our societies. Obviously, compared to men, we know that women are more vulnerable. And that's why gender-based violence affects women the most. In our societies, children are very vulnerable, but we seem to forget about the elderly, because the older they become, not only are they physically vulnerable because they can't move like they used to, but they also become financially vulnerable, and abuse is easy to take place in those spaces, because when people are vulnerable, they usually don't know how to receive help. What are the different types of abuse that many elderly people face within our communities?
I want to believe verbal abuse is very common and rife in our communities.
True.
People will say mean things, hateful words to the elderly, and because the elderly do not have money to support themselves. They are forced to put up with this verbal abuse, knowing that if they speak up against it, if they say something, they will not get any financial assistance. Then we move on to emotional abuse, mental and emotional abuse. It's the same with the verbal abuse. They are made to feel like they are less of humans, they are burdens, and because they don't have the financial means to sustain themselves, they have to put up with the abuse and they can't report to anyone.
Yeah, and it's very tricky, right? Because it's multi-layered, as you highlighted, that the abuse can be, verbal, but it can easily manifest to also being physical, because older persons can't really protect themselves. But we've got a very apparent way of abuse here in South Africa that has been reported over and over again, and it's very prevalent in our communities here. And that's financial abuse, where you would have maybe those that are, living with the elder, and they would actually take their grant. That is also another abuse that also filters into these other areas, because if an elderly can't access their own finances, they can't take care of their health, they can't maintain their diet, but also there's other areas of physical abuse that could also filter into that.
You are so right. Financial abuse is when you are elderly and no longer able to provide for yourself. It becomes the umbrella of all forms of abuse. Everything can be related to, you can connect the dots to financial abuse, actually, because whether it's spiritual abuse, sometimes you are forced to do, to partake in certain spiritual activities in the family because you need them to take care of you. And maybe you're not comfortable. Sometimes it's maybe like we've talked about physical abuse, we've mentioned verbal abuse. It can be sexual abuse as well. Like you have to give sexual favors for you to be given money to, to live, to buy yourself basic commodities. And also maybe we can look at violence itself. Like if you don't report the violence, then you are still given money to buy food, to buy clothing, to pay rent where you are staying. So financial abuse is quite big, and it's not only in South Africa. You will discover that it's happening almost everywhere in Africa. The elderly are going through a lot.
Well, Barbara, stay there on the line. We'll continue having this conversation as part of our gender-based violence conversations. Today, we're looking at something that might not be focused on. Maybe it's because it's underreported, and maybe it's because a lot of the time the elderly are invisible in our communities. I also want to speak a little bit about, isolation and loneliness. I think they also these issues of gender-based violence. Barbara Kambanyati is a CEO and founder of Bold Dialogue, an author, a lifestyle and wellness coach. She joins us all the way from Zimbabwe. We'll continue the conversation after the break. Stay with us right here on The Move.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. No time to waste. Be on the move with Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa.
We're speaking to Barbara Kamba Nyati, CEO and founder of Bold Dialogues, also an author, lifestyle and wellness coach. Today's gender-based violence. We focus on the elderly, a very vulnerable group in our communities and our societies, and we're looking at the abuse of the elderly, which comes in many, many forms. We continue this conversation with Barbara. Let's come into that, Barbara. The reason why these abuses on the elderly continue is because it feels like we're trying hard in our societies to create systems that protect children, even though they're not that great as yet. We're trying hard in our societies to create systems that protect women. We're not doing a great job at it, but I mean, that has been a lot of conversation. But it feels like there hasn't been a lot of conversation, even a lot of policy on protecting the elderly in our societies. Why do you think that is?
For some strange reason, if you are elderly, the assumption, I feel it's a wrong assumption, is that you saved enough to take care of yourself, you are fine. These are the years whereby you are enjoying yourself, you are going on cruises and doing ABC. You don't need to worry about people. But then also, the other thing that I've noticed is a phenomenon called compassion fatigue, whereby the caregivers of the elderly people, because they are taking care of the elders, and maybe, let's say it's me, I may be having a husband, children of my own, and also my parents to take care of. Because there is no emotional support for the caregivers, they end up getting weary of taking care of the elders, because in your mind you are thinking, but you are an old person, you are grown up, you should know how to behave, how to do this. But we forget that as you grow older, so for some strange reason, your mind, your body is regressing. You are turning back into a young person again. A toddler sometimes even.
Yeah, and something
because
else.
Our parents.
Sure. No, go on, Barbara. You were saying?
Our parents tend to behave like toddlers if you look at them. When they grow older. So having to deal with my own toddlers and a grown-up toddler, sometimes it can be very overwhelming. And in the end, I develop what is called compassion fatigue. And I now take out my frustrations on the elderly person, instead of getting my own psychological help, so that I don't burn out from taking care of the parents.
Another thing that can compound the abuse as well is loneliness. Most of the time, the elderly find themselves becoming more lonely. Their children probably have left the nest, and they also have busy lives. And at times they can be kind of like that as an excuse to say, well, we are dealing with what we're dealing in our own worlds. We can't necessarily accommodate mommy back at home. But I think also that separation can be a form of subtle abuse, maybe not so direct as other forms of abuse.
You are right. It's actually a form of abuse, and it can also lead, say, to sexual abuse. Let's say you've left your parents alone and they have no one to take care of them, but they need to supplement the meager financial assistance they get either from you or from their pension. Then they look for tenants, lodgers in the home. You don't know what those people are going to do to your parents. And if it's an old lady left alone, she may get sexually abused by the tenants or even people in the community, because they see that she's vulnerable, she's alone.
Yeah, when these vulnerabilities happen, many a times we think about, okay, when you are being abused, the next step is to report your abuse. It doesn't sound as cut and dry for the elderly. Firstly, because many of them have become weak physically and may not even be able to reach a place of help, like get to the police station or, community members. And they can actually be stopped if they are close to their abusers, like family members. They can be stopped from reaching that care. So what exactly should the solution be? How do we protect the elderly, and how do we make sure they also receive justice against the inequalities and the abuses that they face?
I think one of the first things we need to do is what we are doing right now, having this kind of conversation, Palesa. We need to have more of these conversations. And also when we conduct the awareness campaigns or educating people in the communities, we need to have programs for the elderly as well, so that they understand that they still have rights. Being old is not a crime. And anyway, we are all going there. So we need to set in place policies, have awareness, create platforms whereby even have the police, even just do random visits to elderly people in the community to find out how they are living. Are they happy? Are they safe? Is everything going well with them? Because it's everyone's duty to look after the elders. We are each other's keepers. And Ubuntu detects that I am because of you. So how can I be if I'm not because of the elders in my society?
On a lighter note, Barbara, I always tell people, hey, man, I'm old now. And people are like, Ben, stop acting old. And I'm like, no, I am, And I've noticed with our generation, we tend to think that, youth is kind of the prime of life, right? And I've seen even other peers of mine in this trying to stay young. You also want to keep your parents young, and you have that kind of denial that as much as you're getting older, your parents are also getting older, and your responsibilities towards them are also going to change over time because of that age growth, because of the development of life, and because there is that circle of life whereby at some point you are going to be a caregiver one way or the other of your parents. How important is that element that we as children of our parents, of these elders, should start noting that and start taking that responsibility more serious?
I think it starts from us acknowledging that we are growing older, we are getting older. Because if we are in denial, it's difficult for us to accept that our parents can no longer take care of themselves. They need us to cater for them. So we need to have these conversations, create safe spaces, make the family a safe space for acknowledging what is happening and finding out, like just getting together and asking, how are you doing? How are you coping? Are you having any challenges? Because without us being told, sometimes it's difficult to guess that, I think my dad now needs this or my mother needs this,
Yeah.
So we need to have conversations so that we are aware of what is happening with people around us. And us also sharing with others the things that we are discovering in our bodies. Because every time as we grow older, things are happening to us.
Absolutely. Well, Barbara, we have to leave it there. We've run out of time. Barbara, where can we get hold of you? I know that you have so many great things and projects that you get up to. You have a beautiful newsletter as well that you always publish online. Tell us where people can get some of this help, because you always give great advice with your collective there in Zimbabwe.
I think I can give you my WhatsApp number. It's easier to reach me there, +263 7831 80802.
Thank you so much, Barbara. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, and thank you for helping us in this conversation. That is Barbara Kamba Nyati, CEO and founder of Bold Dialogue, also an author and lifestyle and wellness coach. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. At Channel Africa 1 is where you can participate in this conversation. Let us know what you think about elderly abuse, if you've seen it in your communities as well. Really important conversation for all of us to engage in. It's 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news.
Sports. on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And it's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Mosibu Dimakura with your latest sports news. And the Sawa, so Egyptian giants Pyramids FC underlined their title credentials with a dominant 3-0 win over Rwanda's APR in Cairo, Egypt on Sunday, completing a 5-0 aggregate triumph to book their place in the second preliminary round of the Total Energies CAF Champions League. So goals from Mustafa Abdal Raouf Zikom, Ahmed Atif Kwatam, as well as Mohamed Hamdi sealed a comfortable night for the reigning African champions, who were really troubled by the visitors at the Air Defence Stadium. So having already won 2-0 in Kigali in the first leg, thanks to a brace from Congolese striker Fiston Mayela, title holders Pyramids controlled the return leg from the outset. Now the victory sets up a second preliminary round clash against Ethiopian Insurance as Pyramids continue their campaign to defend their historic CAF Champions League crown, having won it for the very first time last season. Well, African champions South Africa have advanced to the knockout stage of the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup with a 2-1 victory over the USA in their deciding Group E match at the Estadio Altene on Sunday night. So USA scored twice, the opener through Noah Cobb and the other was an own goal by Joshua Winder, while Khomole Mokegana netted the winner to see South Africa finish second in this group, tied on 6 points with the USA, who are on first position, but they do have a superior goal difference. That's why they are currently in first position in the group. Let's hear now from Amachita head coach Raymond Mdaka.
Let me congratulate the boys. I think, honestly, the boys did a very good job. They showed character. They showed that they are the African champions. It was not an easy game. Playing the USA, who has already won 2 games with a number of goals. So it looks like it was a mountain to climb. But then...
Well, South Africa will face off with Colombia in the last 16 on Thursday for a place in the quarterfinals. Coach Mdaka says they need to show the same spirit as well as character in the knockout stages.
The next match is a different one because you will not play for a draw. You will play for the result. So we will grind. We'll continue with the same character, with the same spirit. Whoever we play with will show that we are South Africa and we are here to compete in the tournament.
On to tennis news now. Amanda Anisimova continued her breakout year with a victory over Linda Noskova in the China Open to win that title and claim her second WTA 1000 title in the process. So the American runner-up at Wimbledon as well as the US Open came through a fluctuating match, 6-love, 2-6 and 6-2 against the Czech Republican, who she beat on her way to the final at the All England Club. Now Noskova, playing in her first WTA 1000 showpiece, won just at 12 points in a 23-minute opening set, where she was also on the end of the bagel, losing a first set without winning a game. However, with a more aggressive approach, Noskova broke the American in the second set of that first game. The world number 27 recovered well from back-to-back double faults in the next game to consolidate her break and took the second set to level that match. And finally, in golf news, Robert McIntyre won his 4th DP World Tour title at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, just 1 week on from helping Team Europe defend the Ryder Cup. Now, McIntyre shot a 3rd straight 6 under 66, this time on the All Course at St Andrews, having also done so at the Connoisseur and the King's Barnes to complete a 4-strokes victory at the home of golf. Now, the third round was postponed on Saturday because of stormy weather, making the event a Pro-Am played over 3 days at Scotland's top links courses, making it a 54-hole tournament. Now, McIntyre earned 1.5 points of the Europeans' points last week and their way of retaining the Ryder Cup at the Bath Plage Black course, where he also encountered much more hostile conditions than he did at home this past weekend. Well, that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
madapiri pazoshitika madapiri pazoshitika
boma la dziko la south sudan alengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dzikolo Riek Machar akuyenera kuyankha mlandu ofuna kulanda dziko wakupha komanso okonza ziwawa ndipo mtolankhani wathu nkummawa kwa africa Afresa Unene akuwunikirapo
muchikalata chomwe chinalengezedwa ndi nduna yoona zamalamulo komanso chilungamo ya dziko la south sudan. Chikalatachi chinalengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa president wa dzikolo Riek Machar apezeka ndi milandu yokupha, yofuna kuwukira boma komanso kulanda dziko ndi kuyambitsa ziwawa. Riek Machar akhala akusungidwa mokakamizidwa ku nyumba kwawo kuyambira mwezi wa Marichi chaka chino. Mwezi wa Marichiwu asilikali omwe mbuyomu anali mgulu lomwe limagwira ntchito limodzi ndi Machar anamenyana ndi asilikali a boma a South Sudan Defense Forces SPDF mu chigawo cha White Nile dziko
zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi madapiri.
All right, thank you so much to Musibudi for that update. It's time for us now to move on and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. The African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Moses Vilakati, has bemoaned the low usage of fertilizer on the continent, saying this has resulted in high food imports. At least $100 billion is spent on imports per year in Africa, yet the continent has the capacity to adequately produce its own food. Vilakati also called for the development of universal fertilizer blending standards that will deal with fake fertilizer imports. Vilakati says when it comes to fertilizer applications in Africa in general, there are very few countries that are able to meet the expected standards.
We are still far below 50 kgs per hectare in terms of application country per country. I think there are probably less than 10 countries that have met that. Yet when we look at Europe, Europe is already applying about 100 to 120. With us in Africa, only less than 10 countries actually applying 50 kg. How are we able to compete?
Business conditions in Egypt's non-oil private sector declined slightly in September as new orders fell at the fastest pace in 5 months. S&P Global's Egypt Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) slipped to 48.8 last month from 49.2 in August, marking the lowest reading in 3 months. A PMI below 50 indicates contraction. Employment growth stalled after 2 months of small increases, with nearly all firms reporting no change in staffing levels. Input price inflation eased to its lowest rate since March, aided by a stronger Egyptian pound against the US dollar. The Libyan state-run National Oil Company and Corporation, NOC, says the North African branch of Italian energy company Eni has resumed its exploration drilling in an offshore area northwest of Libya after a 5-year hiatus. In 2024, Eni and the British oil giant BP resumed exploration in Libya after offshore drilling was halted in 2014, the year when the North African country's civil war erupted and divided the country between two administrations. NOC says Eni resumed operations in a well where drilling operations were halted in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Congress of South African Trade Unions says it will observe the International Day for Decent Work today with a National Day of Action. COSATU says the Day of Action will be centered on retrenchments, weak economic growth and the rising cost of living. The Federation says that it will also act on companies that are still not paying workers pension fund deductions. Soli Pedwe is COSATU's General Secretary and he had this to say.
The financial sector conduct has released a report that last year with 7,200 companies that are not complying in terms of deducting the money of the pension fund of workers and paid to where it's supposed to the fund. This year it has now increased to 15,000 plus, and we are calling for those companies this year. We have identified those companies that are not complying with the act. One by one, we'll be visiting them province by province, region by regions.
Vietnam's footwear exports to the U.S. plunged 27% in September to $611 million, marking the steepest decline among all sectors following the implementation of tariffs by the U.S. government. Textile exports also saw a sharp monthly drop of 20%, while shipments of phones and components fell by 24.38%, according to customs. Despite these sectoral declines, Vietnam's overall exports to the U.S. edged down just 1.5% to $13.7 billion in September, cushioned by gains in coffee and machinery exports. Let's now have a look at financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,470 naira, Botswana 13.20, Kenya 128 shilling 49, Zambia 23 kwacha 78. BRICS countries $1 in Brazil is 5 real 33, in Russia 81 rupees 93, India 88 rupees 72, China 71.13, South Africa 17 rand 21 cents. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities: gold is at $3,927, platinum at $1,603 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is trading at $65.20 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
This one is titled Kanye Nawe. Athalia Moore featuring Surprise Nene. It's 9:47 Central Africa time. Kickstarted our conversations this morning with our gender-based violence focus, looking specifically at elderly abuse.
Yeah.
And we think we are progressing as African communities and societies because we are becoming more urbanized. But in a way, we actually are digressing because we don't have the systems anymore that existed that protected each and every one of us in different life stages, right? Because in the older communities, in older African communities, we understood the cycle, right? You were going to be young, and then you were going to take care of the young ones, and then you were going to be older, and community was going to take care of you, and community made sure that they took care of all these vulnerable groups. And now, because of urbanization, we know that in order to make a living and to live, we have to move away from those communities. We have to move away from our parents. We have to move away from the elderly in our families, and that leaves them so vulnerable in the communities that they continue to exist in. Because things are not the same anymore. Things are becoming quite dangerous. And on top of that, I think the financial strain and pressure that everybody is facing does bring in that fatigue, doesn't it? The fatigue of taking care of others when you're struggling yourself to take care of you. And those create very dangerous cycles that leave our elderly quite vulnerable.
Yeah, in many of our African communities, we know that the elderly are very central. They're very key in how we distribute, either our lineage, but also our cultures and also how we live, right? And in many of those communities, there are things that are put in place to actually even protect these elderly, to make sure that they are living as long as they can, because we still need a transference of information, indigenous knowledge systems, but most importantly, just the life of an elder is such a pivotal one for many of us from an African context. I wonder if it's different from a rural perspective to an urban perspective, how it looks differently there, or does it depend on each family's values on how they center the elder?
Well, either way, it is quite worrisome because anytime there are vulnerable members in our communities, they do need to be protected. And just as you would children, just as you would women, and elderly people need just as much protection. And unfortunately, sometimes that protection has to be against the people that are in their direct family as well. And the rest of the community can then step in and say, yeah, we actually see that this elderly person is being abused at the hands of their family members who are supposed to be protecting them. But we'll keep that one going on our social media at Channel Africa 1. We are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube, but our WhatsApp number is always open as well. That's +27 63406 9126.
Yeah, let us know what do you think of that conversation. Do you think we're doing enough to protect the elders in our African communities? That WhatsApp number will be great. I see you, Rashid Naz, on our live feed. That's interesting. Listening from Pakistan. Thank you to everyone who's joining us on that live feed. If you find yourself there, let us know where you're listening to Channel Africa from.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
Malawians go to the polls next week in a high-stakes general election where citizens will choose a new president and 229 members of parliament. And this comes 5 years after the country's 2019 election was annulled by the Constitutional Court due to widespread irregularities in a landmark decision that overturned the victory of the then President Peter Mutharika.
I'm not saying we're a perfect government. No, nobody is. I mean, we've seen even South Africa facing challenges with the fuel that's going up and with whatever challenges. But you know what? When you are dealing with an IMF policy that says do not employ so many people because you are going to become a welfare government and all of that. And Dr. Chakwera said I've got high numbers of unemployment. As a government that is answerable to Malawians, we have found IMF policies wanting on many issues. We believe the people who pay us taxes to put us in our positions, we owe them employment at the minimum.
That's Dr. Jesse Kwabila, who's the Minister of Higher Education in Malawi.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Step into the heart of the day on the move. with Palesa and Benjamin. I'm sure when you hear that one, you're thinking the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, one of the fastest growing songs on YouTube, achieving 100 million streams on Boom Play. That is the catchy melody of Kez Daniel with his Booga there. Taking us to 9:55 Central African Time, giving you the best in African music right here on Channel Africa. We're moving into our second hour conversation today, and this was very, very interesting. When we were actually leaving the offices on Friday, it was everywhere on social media, where there was this huge announcement that was made where fathers in South Africa are said to be entitled to equal parental leave. This was a decision that was made by the Constitutional Court that declared parts of the legislation unconstitutional and calling it discriminatory against fathers, and ruled that both parents may now share that granted leave however they choose. But it's interesting, Bali, people are now having conversations around men, right? Yeah. And they're saying, well, they're not the primary caregivers here, and men disappear as parents. You have a lot of single mother led families in South Africa. What if the men take advantage of this whole ruling?
There isn't a point where any conversation needs to, be put aside, because people speak sometimes from their own experiences, but also the experiences that they see in society. Yeah. There's obviously a reason why this particular ruling, first of all, was not so in the beginning, because generally women are the primary caregivers of children in our societies. But also, in many households, we do have a lot of fatherlessness, especially in South Africa, where this, of course, conversation has been. People are saying, well, this can be taken advantage of. But the truth is, any system can be taken advantage of. That doesn't particularly mean that rules and laws shouldn't come into play because they're vulnerable to being taken advantage of. I think all laws are vulnerable to be taken advantage of. But whether or not it's a good thing, I think I'm waiting to hear from the debate and hear what exactly the points that are made are from either side of this debate for me to really make a decision on it.
It's interesting, right? Because there are those who are saying that this decision is actually a breakthrough decision because it will encourage equality in the household. It will encourage the inclusion of fatherhood in the country and could be a good starting point to also push forward family well-being. So we're going to see those two sides of the conversation in our second hour. You know, we always love the debate because it always makes us think. And at times you don't know which side to lean in because you kind of like, this person just made a good point, but the other person just made a good point there.
Yeah.
And at times you're just in the middle of the 2 points.
Well, Benji, you still have quite a young son. Would you have, was that something that you would have enjoyed to have, parental leave when your son was born? Because that's not so long ago.
Definitely, because mainly to support my partner.
Yeah.
Because, she was doing it on her own and we had our family members coming in, and I have to say, like, her mother was awesome. I have the best mom in her because I just saw her kind of filtering things that I couldn't do at the time because I was always at work. But I think it's encouraging because that means we as men can participate in supporting our partners, and it will change the framework in which we actually see ourselves in the development of our children, because I think we think it only starts when the child is just arrived, after that moment where the child is here.
Yeah.
But I think actually being a father starts on how you treat your partner and how you take care of your partner. So I think it's fantastic.
All right, that's the debate that's coming up. Let's hear what your thoughts are. Of course, the debate is never through just the guests that are here on air, but we want you to debate the issue as well. Which side do you stand on? Do you think that men who are not the primary caregivers of their children should be allowed to take parental leave? Would they take advantage of that? Or is it a good thing to help women who are, who just had children to really take care, equal care of those parenting responsibilities? That's coming up in a bit right here on The Move. For now, let's go back to our news desk to get our latest news update.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Looking at your top stories, Tanzanian opposition leader to go on trial today for treason, and Democratic State governors rally against U.S. President's deployment of National Guard troops. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu will go on trial today for treason. This comes weeks before the East African country holds an election that his party Chadema has been blocked from contesting. Lissu was arrested in April and charged with treason over claims of mobilizing the public to rebel and disrupt the upcoming elections later this month. He has pleaded not guilty in the treason case, and his lawyer argues that the charges are politically motivated. The court has banned live coverage of the proceedings on a request by the state prosecutor, who said it was necessary to conceal the identities of their witnesses. The Kingdom of Eswatini has revealed plans to receive 11 third country nationals deported from the United States in October this year as part of an ongoing agreement between the two nations. In a press statement issued this weekend by the acting government spokesperson Tabile Mdluli, the government assured citizens that these individuals pose no security threat and will be held in a secured area away from the public while repatriation arrangements are finalized. The announcement comes amid growing scrutiny of Eswatini's involvement in the U.S.'s third country deportation program, which has sparked human rights concerns and local opposition. The newly formed political party Unite for Change in South Africa says it will lead by consensus, signalling a shift towards inclusive decision-making and collective leadership in its political strategy. Unite for Change will be registered as a new political party to contest the upcoming 2026 local government elections. Build One South Africa, Rise in Mzansi and the Good Party have merged to form this new political party. The announcement was made yesterday in Johannesburg. The party has pledged to deliver sustainable basic services, ensure safety and justice, and eliminate corruption. Good Party leader Patricia de Lille.
He's exercising extraordinary and unprecedented power. The way in which this is happening and the speed is extraordinary, and it's completely untethered from reality. I was gassed along with a bunch of people last night. It's totally beyond. The response from federal agents has nothing to do with the level of provocation from the crowd. Whoever is ordering them to do this has given them pretty free range to do whatever they want.
We do apologize for playing the wrong sound there. South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal Province Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi will tomorrow appear before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's set up to investigate allegations of threats to national security. Mkhwanazi will be the first senior police official to appear before the committee. He made the allegations, which include corruption, political interference and criminal infiltration of the justice system. Parliament has appointed Advocate Norman Arendse as its evidence leader. Advocates Maria Mokgwaetsi and Lerato Zigalala will assist him. Arendse explains what will happen in the first week.
On the first day, we will, as evidence leaders, we will lead, examine the witness. On the second day, on Wednesday, committee members will have an opportunity to ask questions. On Thursday, Friday, it will be General Masemola.
Lastly, the Democratic state governors are rallying against U.S. President Donald Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to America's cities. Governor J.B. Pritzker has condemned plans to send troops from Texas to his state. Governor Gavin Newsom of California backed a legal challenge that's blocked the use of Californian police. And Trump says the troops are needed to protect immigration enforcement operations from protesters. Alex Barman is a senior reporter at the Oregon Capital Chronicle and has been on the ground.
He's exercising extraordinary and unprecedented power. The way in which this is happening and the speed is extraordinary, and it's completely untethered from reality. I was gassed along with a bunch of people last night. It's totally beyond. The response from federal agents has nothing to do with the level of provocation from the crowd. Whoever is ordering them to do this has given them pretty free range to do whatever they want.
Recapping on your top stories, Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu will go on trial today for treason trials open weeks before election. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
We're in the second hour of On the Move. My name is Palesa. I'm with Benjamin Moshatama, and there's still 2 more hours of the show to go. Come in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. You can come in and be a part of our platforms. You can listen live. You can also view the show. So there's so many ways to actually interact. www.channelafrica.co.za. That is our website. Find us as well on our audio bouquets, DSTV channel 802 and OpenView channel 628. debate, and of course the SABC Plus app, also streaming live on many other platforms. The African View is coming up. That is our second hour Monday debate, and it's going to be quite an interesting one today, as South Africa's highest court just last week ruled that both men and women can share the parental leave. So now that means fathers can have equal parental leave as their female or women counterparts after having a child. But this is the debate of the day, because some people are saying men aren't particularly the primary caregivers, and they may be taking advantage. They could take advantage of a ruling like this. The debate topic of the day: should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? What do you think?
Yeah, man, it's a good one, and it speaks not just really about men. I think this is a decision that's going to change the entire game on how we also see parenting, because we think the pregnancy experience is a female experience, but I think it's a couple's experience, and most of the time we separate those experiences, and I think that creates that reality that, women shouldn't be going through this experience on their own. Their partners should be there to really be part of it. But am I right? We'll find out from both sides of this conversation. Stay in touch with us if you are listening to us in different ways. But if you know people out there, we hear you like this station called Channel Africa, where do you get it? Remember, we're on the SABC Plus. You can easily access us on your phone. Download it in any app store, and you can quickly find us in the radio station section of the app. We're easy to find there, but don't forget our website as well, www.channelafrica.co.za. Hey, that's a wonderful duo there. Davido hang out with Omale with one titled With You. We'll be with you after the break. Stay with us. Our debate is coming up.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Just last week in South Africa's highest court has unanimously ruled that all parents of newborns are entitled to equal parental leave. This is a landmark judgment hailed as a major victory for gender equality and family rights here in South Africa, because under the current law, mothers are granted 4 months of leave while fathers would only receive just 10 days of leave. And this ruling by the Constitutional Court declared that parts of the legislation unconstitutional, but now is calling that this has been discriminatory against fathers and ruled that both parents can now share the granted leave however they choose. That is the forefront of today's debate, because ever since this news came out in South Africa last week, there's been many people on either side of this discussion. Some saying, well, men aren't really the primary caregivers in many of our family households, and some of them may actually take advantage of this time off even without taking care of the child. Well, many others are saying, well, this is a breakthrough to families and the support that women need just after, and the children need as well, after they are born. So that's the debate topic on today's African View here on The Move. Should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? We're going to be having this conversation with two incredible guests. Joining us today is Bernard Sithole, Secretary of Dads in the Picture organization, also known for himself as a present father of 3 daughters, a male role model to his nephews and nieces, and passionate about the well-being of children. On the other side, we also have Michael Baygram, who's a labor law specialist, who are going to be unpacking this conversation with us. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us in today's debate. It is quite an interesting one. I'm going to start with you, Bernard. Let's hear your opening statements and where you fall in this conversation. Should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave?
All right. Good morning, and thank you for having us as Dads in the Picture.
Thank you.
As Dads in the Picture organization, we do welcome the Concord ruling because of it shows that both parents are equally important in the raising and the nurturing of the children. So it's important that as us, as parents, specifically fathers, it's necessary for us to be present and actively participate in our children's lives. So myself, as a parent who is also actively participating in my children's lives, it's important that this kind of an opportunity is created for us to ensure that we instill discipline, we nurture our children, because of, absolutely speaking, and it's a reality, and it's something that we cannot ignore. It's in the best interest of our children that they have both parents who are actively participating in their children's lives. So therefore, secondary caregivers, such as uncles, big brothers or grandfathers, are also role models, playing a father figure role in our children's lives. So that can be my starting point in discussing this important issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernard. Let's come to you, Michael. Where do you stand in this particular debate? Do you think that men should be entitled to parental leave, particularly if they are not the primary caregivers of their children?
Yeah, with all due respect to my colleague, Bernard Sithole, and Bernard, I apologize, but I do have a slightly different opinion on this. Although I welcome the judgment and I think it is in line with our constitution and I congratulate the court, I have particular problems in that the devil is in the detail. Let me give you some examples, and I've got lots of other examples where I could talk this down. But one is when the man is working, and he might be working with the wife or the girlfriend or the partner, then you've got 2 people taking off from the business, which might be a problem for the business. The second thing is many companies have policies in place where they pay the woman who gives birth, they pay a certain amount, and she might not be taking that from the UIF, she might not be taking that time off at all. That's the second problem. The third problem is, and some men do this, now I'm not discriminating against men, but some men have 2 or 3 partners. What happens if they have, they're going to get the 4 months, the wife has agreed or the girlfriend has agreed, and they've got 4 babies during that period. Can they take the year off? because they're going to get 4 months from the maternity benefits from the UIF all that time. What about another situation? Some people are duplicitous. What happens if a woman who, her and her partner are giving birth, but they then say, listen, my brother or my best friend is a man, he works and maybe he can have some of our leave. Who's going to tell? We're going to do paternity tests each time a baby's born. I can throw a whole lot of examples from practice that might create problems. So what's going to happen now is that this judgment has been sent off to Parliament, to the Minister of Employment and Labour. Minister Meth now has to try and put detail to this so that we can take all those examples that I'm giving you, and I can think of 10 other examples where we can cheat and get money from the UIF. Now, I don't say people are inherently bad.
Sure.
But you're always going to have someone that's going to cause that trouble. Let's say I work, my friend, girlfriend, and him are not working. I will collect the money from the UIF and then I'll share it with them. There are hundreds of ways. I don't want to teach people how to be crooks. And hopefully not too many people are watching me today.
It sounds like you're giving some great tips there, Michael.
Yeah, well,
all right,
these are really bad. That's
all right, let's take this back to Bernard. Michael saying the whole thing is about the details that are going to be part of this whole new law. What's your take on that? Because it seems like this can be easily exploited in many ways that Michael has elaborated upon.
All right. In responding to your question and what my learned friend Michael has just said, unfortunately, when these laws are drafted and are approved, for example, and implemented, as parents, we are not being invited to participate. We are not being given an opportunity to also make input in that regard. So therefore, the lawmakers, they tend to decide on our behalf, not knowing our position and how we see things as parents. Unfortunately, in this regard, people like the Department of Employment and Labor, the Department of Public Service and Administration, the UIF and the trade unions and so forth and so on, obviously will have to come together and try to sort out these nitty-gritties when it comes to the systems or the processes and the procedures on how to implement this court ruling. But however, it's important that we need to ensure that the parties involved in this issue of secondary caregivers, of course, they need to be included in this instance because they are also present and participating in their children's lives. I've given an example earlier on about the uncles and the big brothers and grandfathers who, as we speak, some of them are the ones taking care of those nieces and nephews and so forth and so on because of the absence of those mothers to those children due to different reasons, or the absence of those fathers due to different reasons. Let's say, for example, you'll find in a rural area, both parents move, for example, to an economically active province like Gauteng or Western Cape, and those children are left behind with other family members, for example, uncles, as I've said, big brothers, as I've said, grandfathers, as I've said, and those secondary caregivers, as we call them, they are present, they're actively participating in those children's lives, and I believe if those caregivers are full-time employed somewhere else, they should be entitled to that particular leave. And if I'm sure every parent now can say, if both parents will share 4 months and 10 days, according to us, as this is the picture, as I've said, we welcome the court ruling, but unfortunately, 4 months and 10 days is also not sufficient for both parents to share, and for those children or those newborns to be able to receive the love and care from both parents.
Yeah,
I think I need to be like this. For a newborn, it's important to bond with the both parents at that particular time. It's a very sensitive stage whereby a bond needs to be established and to be strong from both sides of the parents. So as I've said, the nitty-gritties, the systems on the processes, like Malene Fred Michael has just said, there are role players who will be playing part in those parts or sections of the processes on the policies, of course, when they're going to be amended and the basic conditions. But we feel that as parents, we need to be involved in the lawmaking when such laws are made, so be able to provide input in that distance.
Okay, Bernard, we need to take a break. Stay with us both on the line. Michael Begram and Bernard Sithole are joining us on today's debate. But of course, you can also join in on the debate. The question of today's debate is, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? We continue our African View debate after this.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
On the Move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday.
Only on Channel Africa. #On the Move.
Hey, it's Monday, so we definitely are starting on a good note today. Every second hour on a Monday, we have this wonderful feature that's robust, that's challenging, that makes us think. That's the African View, where we debate issues that are taking place in the African continent. Today, the question that we are debating, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? We have two gents joining us for this one. Bernard Sithole is the Secretary of Dads in the picture, and also we have Michael Begram, who is a labor law specialist, to debate this one. We've already set the tone of the difference of thought between our guests, but Michael, someone else might say, hey, Michael is a typical old school man. He focuses on the hunt and is forgetting a little bit about the soft side of things in the family. And that's what Bernard is saying. Like, hey, let's not forget that as men, we also have to be responsible for the caregiving in the home. And I think that's what you missed in your argument. Michael, how do you counter that?
Yeah, it's difficult to counter that. And of course, Bernard Sithole is right in the sense that it's wonderful for a child to have the bonding with both parents. But I'm trying to indicate that, and as I said earlier, the devil is in the detail. And so Bernard hit the nail on the head. I'll tell you why. Because this now, the court has thrown back to Parliament. The court is saying, we're not going to actually look at the machinery of this ruling. What the court has said is, I'm giving you 4 months from the UIF, paid by the UIF, giving you the 4 months, and it's for you to work it out, for the two parents to work it out. Now, obviously, the court hasn't thought about how people might try and bastardize the system. So Bernard is saying we need to have our say when the Parliament itself starts putting together the nuts and bolts of this new motor vehicle that is going to be given to the people of South Africa. Now, that new motor vehicle is going to need input from people like Bernard Sithole and his organization. So there is a portfolio committee of employment and labor that is set up by Parliament that will be taking input from the public and from organizations as to the issues. Now, I sit on that portfolio committee, and I'm obviously going to mention the issues that might enter into the system to try and bastardize it, to try and somehow cheat the UIF and to cheat the businesses. But there are ways and means of doing it. For instance, you can say that the access to the 4 months can only happen once a year. Well, for the woman, it can only happen once a year because it takes her 9 months to give birth.
Yeah.
For the man, as I pointed out, it could happen 4 times a year. So if you have 4 times 4 is 16 months. He can take 16 months off, but that the Parliament is going to, one hopes that our MPs are wise and that they look at these issues and they say, we've got a good piece of legislation, a good piece of proposal for legislation, and the court has said we have to do it, but how do we stop all these loopholes from appearing on various occasions? Now, also the other thing you need to remember, it's only, the court has said it's only for the parents. It's not for the uncle and for the grandfather and whatever. They might want to give some money to the uncle and grandfather to help, but it's only for the parents. And you don't want a father, a nasty father, to say, this is fantastic, I'll take the 4 months, I'm a bully, you stay home, you're not going to take the 4 months, but you can stay home and take unpaid leave, and I'm going to go fishing. And so we need to put a stop to that somehow. Not going to be easy. This is a long road. The court has given a certain amount of time and for the Parliament to come up to close this. And there'll be court cases thereafter where a business will say, well, we've noticed that the husband's not even in the town. Why is he getting the... he's disappeared. He's supposed to help the child. So there is a softer side, and I agree with that entirely. And we need to make this work.
Bernard, let me come back to you because even though it sounds like Michael is coming from a very legislative side of this conversation, he makes valid points towards the end saying, we do have, unfortunately, a little bit of a pandemic of fatherlessness in South Africa and many parts of the African continent. And now with this law, fathers, you are saying, yes, this is a breakthrough for families. Fathers can be part of the lives of their children and help raise them, which sounds like it's a fantastic thing, but there are abuses that can take place, like the example that Michael just used to say the father can say, you take unpaid leave, I'm going to take the 4 months leave, get paid, but on the everyday basis I'm not actually going to participate in the raising and the growth of the child. I'm not going to be helping you when you're not breastfeeding, making the food. I'm not going to be holding the baby to make sure that when they're awake they don't cry, especially if they don't need feeding. I'm not actually going to participate the way that I should be, but I'm going to get the great fruits of this parental leave that the law has now given me. How do we make sure, if there is any way, Bernard, that men who do take this leave are active participants in the raising of these children?
All right, thank you for the question. I think if from the researches and the surveys that were conducted recently, and looking with my own experience with the fathers that are part of our organization, the reality is there are thousands, if not millions of fathers who are now striving. And I think striving it's an underweight, who are fighting to be in their children's lives. But unfortunately, they are being denied in that regard due to different reasons, of course. But so far, I think with this opportunity, they are able to revise and review their decisions that indeed it's important for them to be part. Unfortunately, it's a reality that we cannot force other fathers to be in their children's lives. They have their own reasons, but however, we are trying on our side as the organization to show them their importance in a child's life and ensuring that they are actively participating. The issue of the systems, like you're asking, there are always gaps in the systems. There are always, unfortunately, loopholes in the systems. But I really feel for the reality to really kick in for both parents. I think the Concord ruling, it was proper, it was appropriate, and basically it was long overdue. So on our side as the organization, we will really encourage fathers to ensure that with the opportunity that is now has come to our doors as fathers, let's really take it with both open hands and let's ensure that we really do justice to our children. Because of, as you can see, it's a reality. You can go to parent meetings in our schools or daycares. These days we find many fathers are there, 50% or more. Is fathers or uncles or big brothers and so on. You can see on the roads, fathers is them who are taking children to school and to creches and so on, and they even contribute financially. It's all about ensuring that we also sensitize our female counterparts to really allow us to be part of our children's lives. Hence, this important court ruling that came in favor of both parents, of course, was the most important party is the children in this instance, or the newborn in this instance.
Of
So we
course.
encourage fathers that we really to take this opportunity in with both hands to ensure that we do justice to this court ruling. It's an opportunity for us, and we hope for many more opportunities to come, such as this.
All right, Bernard, and thank you so much to both of you, Bernard and Michael, for taking part in this particular debate today. We have run out of time of that conversation, but quite interesting and very important viewpoints from both sides.
Very intricate and definitely complex. I think the next few months will be determining on how that particular.
Thank you ever so much for giving me the opportunity.
Sure, it's
really
a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, gents. And as I was saying, like, the next few months will actually give us a bit of a direction in which to know how that particular legislation will unfold. Remember, we have our On the Move poll that's happening at Channel Africa 1 is the handle on X. We're asking you, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? Giving you three options, simple ones, a simple yes, a simple no, and also a third unsure. Give us your thoughts on that one. Let's quickly move on right now. It's 10:32 Central African time. Did you see the Pirates goal this weekend, Bali?
No, let's go to our sports news.
Well, looking forward to that. Musibodi, what do you have for us?
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good morning from the sports desk. We'll start with cricket news. South Africa's Proteas women's wicketkeeper Sinalo Jafta has urged her side to maintain strict discipline when they face off with New Zealand in their second ICC Women's World Cup match later on today. So after a heavy 10-wicket defeat by England on Friday, when Jafta was the only batter to reach double figures with 22 runs, the team aims for a stronger showing. Aware of the White Ferns' threat, Jafta emphasised the need now for tight bowling to stay in control of today's game.
No, I think for us, we know that as a bowling unit to be really disciplined in our lines. You have the likes of Amelia Kerr, you have Susie Bates, you have Sophie Devine that have been playing for a really long time. But also you're not underestimating your Georgia Pluma, your Greens, your Easy Gates, she came off. And I think when you look at that, for us as a bowling unit is to be very disciplined in how we go about our things.
Now, with India lying in wait for them on Thursday, Jafta knows how important it is for them to win against the New Zealanders to get their campaign back on track. She, however, made it very clear that they are focused solely on the game at the Holker Stadium and not looking ahead to Thursday.
Every game is important, and I think playing each team, you literally have to take it one game at a time. And I mean, our next opposition is New Zealand. We're not looking ahead. We know that when it comes to being tactical, they're probably high up there. So we have to bring in forwards. And I mean, coach has said, leave everything behind. Tomorrow is another opportunity. And I mean, a lot of different individuals will pick up their hands in tomorrow's game.
On to some cricket news, continuing with cricket news. India thumped arch rivals Pakistan by 88 wickets in the Women's ODI World Cup clash, but the game was marred by controversy as players refused to shake hands at Colombo's R. Premadasa Stadium on Sunday. Now, the two captains avoided the customary handshake at the toss, and there was hardly a glance exchange during play. So once the formalities were done, both sides made a beeline to their dressing rooms, skipping the traditional post-match greetings, a frosty ending to a heated encounter. The animosity that brewed during the recent Men's Asia Cup in Dubai seemed to spill over now to the women's fixture in Colombo yesterday. On to tennis news now. Amanda Anisimova continued her breakout year with a victory over Linda Noskova to win the China Open and claim her second WTA 1000 title. Anisimova, runner-up at Wimbledon as well as the US Open, came through a fluctuating match, 6-love, 2-6 and 6-2 against the Czech Republican, who has also now beaten her on the way to the final at the All England Club. Noskova, playing in her first WTA 1000 showpiece won just 12 points in a 23 opening set of the first set when she was on the end of a bagel, which is of course losing a set without winning a game. However, with more aggressive approach, Noskova broke her American opponent in the first game of the second set. The world number 27 recovered well from back-to-back double faults in the next game to consolidate her break and took the second set to level the match. And finally, in golf news, Robin McIntyre won his fourth DP World Tour title at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, just 1 week on from helping Team Europe defend the Ryder Cup title. McIntyre shot a third straight 6 under 66, this time on the old course at St Andrews, having also done so at the Connoisseur and Kings Bonds to complete a 4-stroke victory at Home of Golf. Now, the third round was postponed on Saturday because of stormy weather, making the event, which is a Pro-Am played over 3 of Scotland's top links courses, a 54-hole tournament. McIntyre earned 1.5 points for the Europeans last week in their win in the Ryder Cup at Bathpage Black. But that's where, of course, he encountered a much more hostile conditions than he did at home in Scotland this past weekend to win his 4th DP Tour World title. Well, that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. Back with more sports news and the final sports update for the morning in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa.
The African Perspective. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
All right, 38 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Let's move from a very exciting weekend of sports and to find out what's the latest right now in our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. The African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Moses Vilakazi, has bemoaned the low usage of fertilizer on the continent, saying that this has resulted in high food imports. At least $100 billion is spent on imports per year in Africa, yet the continent has the capacity to adequately produce its own food. Vilakazi also called for the development of universal fertilizer blending standards that will deal with fake fertilizer imports. Vilakazi says when it comes to fertilizer applications in Africa in general, there are very few countries that are able to meet the expected standards.
We are still far below 50 kgs per hectare in terms of application country per country. I think there are probably less than 10 countries that have met that. Yet when we look at Europe, Europe is already applying about 100 to 120. With us in Africa, only less than 10 countries actually applying 50 kg. How are we able to compete?
Business conditions in Egypt's non-oil private sector declined slightly in September as new orders fell at the fastest pace in 5 months. S&P Global's Egypt Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) slipped to 48.8 last month from 49.2 in August, marking the lowest reading in 3 months. A PMI below 50 indicates contraction. Employment growth stalled after 2 months of small increases, with nearly all firms reporting no change in staffing levels. levels. Input price inflation eased to its lowest rate since March, aided by a stronger Egyptian pound against the US dollar. The Libyan state-run National Oil Corporation (NOC) says the North African branch of Italian energy company Eni has resumed its exploration drilling in an offshore area northwest of Libya after a 5-year hiatus. In 2024, Eni and British oil giant BP resumed exploration in Libya after onshore drilling was halted in 2014, the year when the North African country's civil war erupted and divided the country between two administrations. NOC says Eni resumed operations in a well where drilling operations were halted in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. British packaging and paper firm Mondi says its core profit growth slowed in the third quarter due to weak demand and lower prices, and warned that challenges will persist this year, sending its shares sharply lower. Shares in Mondi tumbled more than 15%, dragging shares of European peers, including Enso, UPM and SCA. Mondi posted underlying core profit of $260.35 million for the 3 months to September 30, down from $321 million in the second quarter and $340 million in the first, marking its lowest quarterly earnings so far this year. In other news, Vietnam's footwear exports to the U.S. plunged 27% in September to $611 million, marking the steepest decline among all sectors following the implementation of tariffs by the U.S. government. Textile exports also saw a sharp monthly drop of 20%, while shipments of phones and components fell 24.38%, according to customs. Despite these sectoral declines, Vietnam's overall exports to the U.S. edged down just 1.5% to $13.7 billion in September, cushioned by gains in coffee and machinery exports. Let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,470 naira. In Botswana, 13 pula 20. Kenya, the dollar is 128 shilling 49. Zambia, 23 kwacha 78. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 33. In Russia, 81 rubles 93. India, 88 rupee 72. China, 71.13. South Africa, 17 rand 21 cents. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,931, platinum at $1,617 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $65.59 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
It's a beautiful one by the Muffins, Umsebenzi wendoda. This one is directly translated to the work of a man. I think it's quite relevant to the debate that we just had on today's African View, because the work of a man should also be to take care of his family, his children included. Where do you stand in today's African View debate? Let us know at Channel Africa 1 on all our platforms. That's also our On The Move poll there at Channel Africa 1 on X. We are asking you, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? That's our On The Move poll for the day. But today I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I do feel a little bit exhausted, but it's usually that time of the year where most of us start feeling a little exhausted sometimes. And not that I had a busy weekend.
Sure.
I just feel, a little bit down. And I feel like there's that energy in the air. So many people are feeling like, I'm a little bit tired from the rest of the day.
Okay.
So for today's TikTok, instead of doing something fun or crazy like I usually do, I felt like I should, I wanted to uplift my own spirit, to be honest, but hopefully this would also uplift yours as well. So maybe a little Monday motivation for today's TikTok. Hear this.
This morning I speak a confidence over all of us. A confidence that we'll be able to answer the question of why you and why now. I speak the confidence to be able to walk into rooms that our ancestors were denied purely because of their skin color, purely because of coloniality. A confidence that would be able to dream a lot bigger than what some have in our families. A confidence to dream of loves that hold, marriages that are steady, purposes that are achieved, families that are intact and agree on where to go, and places of prosperity that we hadn't even imagined yet. I speak a confidence to be able to walk in nature with pride and not shame, because we are taking care of her and she responds with the same. I speak a confidence that would allow us to wade into waters understanding that we are part of them and that they have the best intentions for us. As we are there to be cleansed, we too cleanse them with our thoughts and with our power and with our presence. I pray for us to have the kind of confidence to be able to put seed or seedlings in the ground, ideas into the space, nurture and water them, and watch them come to pass, not watch them be stolen, not watch them be...
Well, that one is much longer, but I think that is the one thing that really kept me motivated today.
Okay.
A little bit of confidence, a confidence booster for each and every one of us, and that's what we are for today's TikTok. It's 10:50 Central Africa time. Let's hear your thoughts on today's African View debate, and of course, be a part of our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document. And so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there. And our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
is your name. Wonderful is what you are to me. It's you I see in my dreams every day, and I pray for you, queen of my life. You are so beautiful, mama. You're beautiful. Emi wa mama kan, talore yeah. Mama mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Mama mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. La 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bíjà o, kò sí láyé. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bíjà o, kò sí láyé. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Whoa, man, there is no one like you. Oh, man, there is no one like you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Màmá mi ò rojú rí. That is why I'm loving you. Nítorí ọmọ ó jìyà nílé ọkọ. Màmá mi ò rojú rí. And that is why I'm loving you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh yeah, la 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 la. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bíjà o, kò sí láyé. Ẹ bá mi kíra fún màmá mi. Òrìṣà bíjà o, kò sí láyé. Oh yeah, la 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 la. That's why you're beautiful. Oh yeah.
Hey, what a powerful affirmation, and it sounds sublime with Usher's voice there, telling all of us beautiful, unique beings of the African continent that you are so beautiful. You definitely are. And thank you for joining us right here on Channel Africa. Remember, you are listening to us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, and on live streams as well at Channel Africa 1 is our Facebook page, but also you can stream us live on our YouTube page. Hey, it's a Monday, and we've had some incredible conversations so far, and the intriguing one is the one that we've just had in our debate, where we were asking the question, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? And a few of you have voted there so far on our On the Move poll. 60% of you are saying yes, they should, and there's only 40% who are saying no, they should not, and 0 are saying unsure. So people seem to be fixed on knowing which side of it, but the majority of you saying yes, they should actually be given that parental leave. It's complicated after that conversation that we had with our guests, but both sides are very much making a good point. While we heard from one of our guests who was on the side of saying yes, you know what, they should be getting parental leave, saying, you know, parents are not just one individual, it's also two people in a unit, a mother and a father, and fathers should be able to have that ability to be involved in that stage of the pregnancy of their child, especially if the individual is a present father, right? But Michael Begram, who was a law specialist joining us for this conversation, saying, look, there are intricacies here, because you don't want to give a law that's not going to serve its purpose. What will happen if actually people start taking advantage of this one? Right now, I think I'm on Michael's side. As much as earlier on I said that, you know what, I am pro this law. I think it's when the nitty-gritties and the details of this law is put together in a way that benefits women and benefits the child and not just the father. That's when it's going to make more sense for me.
Absolutely. I am still on sort of both sides. I'm on the fence in this argument, simply because there are things, policy-wise that don't make sense, like Michael was saying. But it really would be fantastic, right? It would be fantastic to see a change in that fatherlessness in our societies. It would be great for us to really start bringing in a new culture of sharing responsibilities when it comes to children, especially just after they're born. And maybe that can be a way to try and, bring in that different culture. It is something that I think would be greatly beneficial for our societies, for men to be active and participating fathers from the time their children are born, and women to not have to carry all the burden when it comes to the child caring responsibilities of the baby when they're born. So maybe that is encouraging to that, and I am encouraging to that as well.
All right, let's keep that On the Move poll moving on at Channel Africa 1 on X. We'd love to get your thoughts on that one. Right now it's 60% saying yes and 40% saying no to the question, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? We'd like to get your thoughts on our conversation today. Let's move on right now. Ellen Zinzi is standing by. She's going to give us our latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, Malawi president announces his first batch of cabinet and senior government appointments, and France's mass rape victim, Giselle Pelicot, returns to court today. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Malawi's President Arthur Peter Mutharika has announced his first batch of cabinet and senior government appointments. The appointments, which take effect immediately, was released last night from the Capitol Hill in Lilongwe through the office of the President and the Cabinet. In a significant reshuffle, Enoch Kanzingeni Shihana has been appointed second Vice President of the Republic of Malawi, marking his return to the center of the country's executive leadership. This is the first batch of appointments, with several key ministries yet to be filled. Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu will go on trial today for treason. This comes weeks before the East African country holds an election that his party, Chadema, has been blocked from contesting. Lissu was arrested in April and charged with treason over claims of mobilizing the public to rebel and disrupt the upcoming elections later this month. He has pleaded not guilty in the treason case, and his lawyer argues that the charges are politically motivated. The court has banned live coverage of the proceedings on a request by the state prosecutor, who said it was necessary to conceal the identities of the witnesses. The Kingdom of Eswatini has revealed plans to receive 11 third country nationals who were deported from the United States in this month as part of an ongoing agreement between the two nations. In a press statement, the acting government spokesperson Tabile Mdluli said the government assured citizens that these individuals pose no security threat and will be held in a secured area away from the public while repatriation arrangements are finalized. The announcement comes amid growing scrutiny of Eswatini's involvement in the US's third country deportation program, which has sparked human rights concerns and local opposition. The newly formed political party Unite for Change in South Africa says it will lead by consensus, signalling a shift towards inclusive decision-making and collective leadership in its political strategy. Unite for Change will be registered as a new political party to contest the upcoming 2026 local government elections. Build One South Africa, Rise Mzansi and the Good Party have merged to form this new political party. Good Party leader Patricia de Lille explains.
We've looked at past coalitions, and the mistake there was that when people started talking about uniting, the first discussion was who's going to be the leader. We said no. You should build those capacity and bring young people and leaders in. We started off by saying that we are a leadership council. So there's no one that's a leader or the particular leader. And the leadership council consists of 6 people. And exactly to avoid the issue that leadership does not stand in the way of uniting. We're going to rule by consensus, by debating, by consulting.
Lastly, France's mass rape victim Giselle Pelicot is returning to court today to face one of her attackers. The only man is appealing against last year's trial verdict, in which a total of 51 accused were convicted of raping Pelicot. The incident happened at Pelicot's Lay after her husband had dragged her in their family home. The BBC's Andrew Harding.
Giselle Pellico does not have to be in court for this 4-day appeal, but her lawyer told the BBC the 72-year-old felt a responsibility to show up, as she did so publicly and memorably during the original trial. The man challenging his conviction at the appeal court here in Nîmes is currently out of prison on medical grounds. Hussametin Dogan, a builder, continues to insist, like many of the others did, that he could not have raped an unconscious Giselle Pellico since he believed he was taking part in a consensual sexual fantasy. A jury will now hear that argument and watch the video that Dominique Pellico filmed in the couple's bedroom.
Recapping on your top stories, Malawi President Arthur Peter Mutharika has announced his first batch of cabinet and senior government appointments. Several key ministries are yet to be filled. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, this is where we celebrate the African perspective. Speaking to our beautiful Africans in different parts of the continent is what we love doing. And thank you for joining us in different platforms. Remember, there's so many cool ways to listen to Channel Africa. You can definitely find us on our normal platforms like DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, and also on our website website, www.channelafrica.co.za. Those are normal because they're pretty established, but we live in a digital world, so you also welcomed to actually come into our studio. Now we are visual. You can actually see what's happening in studio. In fact, we're going to have a studio guest who's coming up, and he's been doing a very much social experiment rather, in terms of gaining weight and losing weight, and teaching people in that sense of bad habits and good habits to actually adopt when it comes to your health. So if you want to visualize what's happening in studio with our studio guest who's coming in, we would love you to join us on our live stream. Remember, we're live on YouTube at Channel Africa 1 is the handle.
Absolutely, but you can keep listening to us on all our other platforms, the audio bouquets, DSTV 802, OpenView 628, the SABC Plus app. That's also a great way to be a part of the Channel Africa family, but also our website, www.channelafrica.co.za. It's time for fitness and nutrition, just in a bit.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Because you know, say now you did for my conscience, now the reason why you did, gotta. And anytime when I say make you give me chop, you know even they try a jara. Oh my licha, waiting there for your list where I know fit to buy on my licha one. See oh my girl, I swear you they give me ginger, you they make me crazy, I swear you they scatter my internet. Oh baby, no go run away. Look in my eyes, you go feel my pain. Don't tell me, say me cut on my wrist. Spin me around like a hurricane, no run away. Look in my eyes, you go feel my pain. Don't tell me, say me cut on my wrist. Spin me around like a hurricane, no run away.
Baby, I miss you, baby. I know. But I'm out here thinking, if you really love me, choose between me and the shorties that you're hiding. You really think that I'm blind? I wanna do me for one night. I should see me, I'm fragile. If you did for me, give me your loving. For your sake, honey, I could disappear, honey.
All up in my face, she go keep it.
Hey, that is a beautiful collaboration between Gyaki and Kaid. That one is titled Run Away. It's time for us to get our fitness and nutrition feature. I don't know what he was thinking. Kopano is a South African fitness coach, digital content creator, and social media influencer. He says, you know what? I'm going to get myself to gain 30 kgs over several months. I wouldn't do that deliberately because I know personally, as a person who's a little bit plus sized, that it's difficult to lose weight. And that's what he was trying to do, say, okay, these are the habits that you are getting into to gain weight, but also this is what you can do to lose the weight. Right now he's in a process of losing the 30 kg. So we're going to be chatting to him just after the break around what was he thinking and how has the experiment changed him and how he sees fitness and nutrition. But we'll do that after the break. It's 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. This is On The Move.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
9 to 12 midday Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, it is Fitness and Nutrition feature every Monday. This is when we're trying to motivate you to say, let's get to it. Let's try to be fit. We're doing it at the beginning of the week because that's where we want to inspire ourselves in the studio, because we're also trying to lose weight.
Don't skip
trying
a Monday,
to stay
right?
fit. Yeah, absolutely. But this has been a conversation that we've been wanting to do for a long time with our guest, because we've been watching his work on social media for a long time now. That's Kopano Mokele, who is a South African fitness coach, digital content creator, and he is known for some of his unconventional approaches when it comes to health and wellness. And one of his unconventional, most talked about trending projects is one titled Becoming as Dudla, where Kopano intentionally gained around 30 kg over several months in order to fully understand the physical, mental, and emotional challenges that many of his clients face in their own weight loss journey. But now he's going the other way around. He's trying to lose that weight, and he was telling us off air that he's actually got a time limit to actually lose all that weight. And look, I have pressure doing it silently, quietly by myself. Kopano is doing it with whole of TikTok watching him. Kopano, welcome on the show, mate.
Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing today?
Very good.
Good. So from becoming as Dudla to becoming as Gora, as you put it on your social media platforms, many of us think that a weight loss or weight gain journey, we notice as it happens overnight, and we think it's going to be just as simple. But you made us realize that our daily habits actually are more than we actually think they are. So let's speak about that first. For someone who has never seen, your videos trending on social media, becoming as Dudla. First of all, why did you decide to do this at all?
For multiple reasons, but the two main reasons was to inspire people.
Yeah.
In an age where information is easily available, you can download a program, a diet. People need an example, people that can relate to, people that can see. So that was the main reason, to show people that it is possible. You don't need 10 years to lose 10 kgs.
Yeah.
Just focus time, a sustainable plan, and just consistency. It's possible. And that was the main reason. The second reason was to also be a more impactful coach. I've been in the fitness industry for a decade now, and all the time my clients would hit up certain points, a break wall, where they feel like they cannot get to the next level. They hit a plateau. So instead of talking to them, let me talk from them. Let me be somebody who's in their shoes and really understand. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe there's a communication error. Maybe there's an influence I need to gain. So to help out my clients, to show people that it's possible, and to give people a show. It's social media, end of the day.
Yeah, it's an act of empathy from where I sit, because you as a fitness coach could be like, nah, man, these people just don't get me.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you decided to say, let me just find out what's going on, right? What did you find out?
I've said this many times, but the main thing, food addiction is a real thing. There's something within the foods where you are not hungry, but you're craving it, and then you have something sweet. Then after having that something sweet, you need something salty. Then have something salty. Then you are full, but you're not really full. Then you want to eat. Then it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I thought before I started this challenge, I thought, maybe my clients are just not disciplined. When there's a coach cravings, it was bad today.
Sure.
I'm like, you're not disciplined. Just work harder. But now I understand.
Sure.
Now I understand. Also, I understood. I kind of knew, but it confirmed to me that if you want to lose weight for Tama, if you want to lose weight because it's a good idea, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
You need a bigger reason. You need to lose weight for, let's say, if you're sick.
Yeah.
And you want to improve your life.
Sure.
You want to lose weight for confidence. A lot of people approach me and say, hey, coach, my weight is affecting my confidence. And you need to channel it and remind them that, okay, the channel is weight loss, but the bigger goal is confidence to improve your life with your relationships, your colleagues, your friends, your family members. So having a big, strong, concrete why, I think that's the missing link a lot of people don't have. They want to lose weight, but they don't have a bigger reason why.
And that, becoming as Dudla, this dodla word is kind of confronting for many people, and it's very controversial, right? And you say there's a culture of eating and our relationship with addiction and food.
Yes.
Where did you see that coming from? Do you think it's because, food has been highly corporatized, and maybe we just have also these gadgets of quick deliveries at the tip of our hands right there in our phones? What did you notice about your eating habits during that time?
Over time, it got worse. When I started, it was kind of easy because I went from healthy lifestyle to becoming a stodler. I was just eating like a normal South African diet. If I'm craving wings, I have wings. On pap, there's pap right there. If I want cool drink, I have cool drink. But the longer I stayed in the journey, my appetite increased. My cravings increased for some reason. And I realized that, I don't know, the longer you expose yourself, let's just say, to negativity, your body gets used to it. So when I was becoming a stodler, it was very difficult. Day 1 to like day 20 something was very, very difficult. And then once my body was like, okay, we're becoming a stodler, it became so easy. Like I'll just wake up, like even with water, during that stodler journey, I never drank water at all. Zero. I was just drinking a cold drink, 2 liters every day.
Wow.
And it was easy. I would wake up, crave it, drink it in the middle of the night. I'm not craving water, I'm craving that drink. And I'll drink a 2 liters every day. I'd have pap 3-4 times a day. I'd have boxes of pizzas every day, a couple of burgers now and then, a whole cake.
Wow.
I'd eat it like, I wouldn't slice it. I'd eat it from the packet, like, and 2-3 days it's over. And my body just wanted more.
Yes.
So that was a big eye-opener for me, which it still scares me to this day.
Most of us, when we are trying or thinking about losing weight, we immediately go towards that means I have to go to the gym. That means now I must do all these exercises. We go and look up all these gym people. They all look fantastic. And they all do these movements that you can't do half of. And that's quite intimidating, right? Because we don't see the fitness journey or the losing weight journey as something that can happen gradually over time. And that's some of the things that you seem to have be displaying, because after your Stodla challenge and when it ended and you went into Skora, I read your comments and people were like, how? But why aren't you at the gym? Why aren't you going here? Why aren't you doing all those things?
Where's your salad?
Exactly. Why aren't you eating the salad? Why aren't you going to the gym? And the truth is, most of us don't do that. And even if we want to, it's very, very hard to stay consistent with a lifestyle that isn't particularly your own. So I want us to come to that after the break. We're going to take a short one now and maybe speak a little bit about lifestyle changes, especially when you have a weight loss goal versus just trying to jolt yourself into like a new lifestyle that isn't your own. We're chatting to Kopano Mokhele. It's quite interesting, from becoming a stodla to becoming a skora. He continues speaking to us about really everyday ways that we can take care of our health, and of course that fitness journey encompassing in all of that. It's 20 minutes past 11 Central Africa time. We'll be back in a bit.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
We're talking all things fitness and nutrition as we do on a Monday here on The Move. Today we are joined in studio by Kopano Mokhele, who's a South African fitness coach, a digital content creator, and a social media influencer who took on a very interesting social experiment as a fitness coach to say, over 4 months, I'm going to gain weight. And he ended up gaining 30 kilograms. And over the next 4 months, which is still a part of until, is it November, Kopano?
No, end of November.
Until the end of November, where he's trying to lose that weight again. And I think at the core of this conversation is how he notices that, pushing fitness or trying to be fit is more than just appearance or BMI charts. It's about how you feel, your daily struggles, and the psychological component of that particular transformation. And I want us to get into that, because that is where our minds are the first furthest when we think about a weight loss journey, right? How our daily habits have also been impacting our emotions, and how the transformation that we seek will also be quite challenging psychologically. So let's speak about some of the psychological things that you've been through in the past couple of months over this year. During your Dudla challenge, so the weight gain challenge, what have been your biggest psychological struggles? And now, as you're going through the weight loss end of this challenge, what psychological issues are you facing there?
The two main challenges that I experience psychologically is the person in the mirror didn't reflect how I felt about myself at the peak, or even during the Stodla journey. And that would always affect my confidence, because I know myself as this type of person, or I believe I'm this type of person. But my body and how I feel about myself doesn't translate. It's like,
because you're used to the old you, right?
You know? So it was very difficult, from just clothes, going out, to at a certain point I felt less, let's just say less ambitious.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from. It will take me 30 minutes to make a simple decision compared to when I was fit. Just any tough decision, I'll make it instantly and go straight into it. But during the Stodla journey, just a simple decision. I'll have to mind map, decide. It's like, this is a simple question. It doesn't need a lot. So it was very difficult, and it made sense why a lot of people who have failed multiple times within the weight loss journey, every time they start, there's an aspect of, I might feel this again. You know, will I be able to do it? Even when I give them the perfect plan, my plan is no gym, no diet, no supplements. You know, and it's still hard to believe. And even if I show you the transformations, I show you the transformations, the people who have worked my plan, it's still hard to believe, because you are basing this new information that you have on your history. And it's hard to really engage fully into the plan. That's why most people never really get 100% of the results.
And that confidence issue is a very big one when you do gain the weight. Because the more you eat, you're supplementing your confidence for food as well.
A lot.
I've noticed that.
I felt that, and you know, it's hard to really put it into words. It's a feeling. And I'm glad that I went through it, because some of these feelings were expressed to me from my old clients. And I'm like, what you mean?
Are you talking about?
You know? But now I truly understand it. And even trying to explain it, I feel like you have to be in it to have that empathy. You know, even if I had to give you, write it down or ask ChatGPT to do it for me, they will still not get it until you're actually in it.
You know, you said something earlier on as I was listening to you in the first part of the conversation, and you were saying it was easy. It was easy for me to just pick up that Coke. It was easy for me to have that heavy starched meal 3 times a day. It was so easy for me. But this part of the conversation feels like it was tough for you, going through this process. And especially when now you're starting to see yourself wanting to lose this weight. How is it now that you are trying to lose the weight? Is it as easy as it was gaining?
No, it's not. It's not easy at all. A lot of it is mental. You know, when people say trust the plan, right? Trust the process. I'm in that part, and I'm fighting with myself. You know, I look at myself. I'm not losing weight, but I'm doing everything. Should I change the plan? Should I go back to try more extreme ways? So it's very difficult to trust the plan, trust the process, no matter how easy or difficult it becomes, because your mind plays tricks on you. You know, also the time is a big factor for me. I have no other option but to lose weight. So I put so much pressure, but also I don't look at it as pressure only. I also look at it as massive accountability. Wherever I go, it's Dudla, it's Gora. I see you, bro. Keep pushing. You inspired me. So now I have no other option but to lose the weight. And once you realize that, and I know for a lot of parents, people who've been, let's say, overweight all their lives, that pressure that they have of, I need to lose weight for work, I need to lose weight for my kids, take it as fuel. You know, you're doing it not just for you, but for something bigger. You know, so that's what I'm doing. It's very difficult, But every day when I leave my house, I have those constant reminders. So whenever if I'm going to a shop, on this side there's cold drink, on this side there's water. Somebody 2 minutes ago said, hey, Skora, hey, Stota. I'm reminded that, hey, let me take the water, even though I'm craving the cold drink.
Yeah.
So, you know.
All right, so now as you're approaching almost the end of this challenge, the end of November is almost here. You have like a month, under 2 months to go now. People are still looking at you and looking at the challenge go on. And they're asking themselves, well, can I do this? And they're like, but 4 months is a long time. Also, a lot of people I'm sure say to you, but you were a Skora before, right? Exactly. You have been a fitness instructor. So this should be easy for you. How can I take motivation from that? Because it's not like I was a fitness coach before my own weight loss journey. What do you say to that?
From me, take the information. If you're looking for inspiration, go to my comments.
Okay.
There's so many people who've said, Coach, I've just used your tips for 2 months. I've lost my first 5 kgs. I also post my clients' testimonies, transformations very often. So when I started this journey, people are already writing me off. It's going to be easy for you.
Right,
You got good genes, you're coach, you're a guy, you know. But that's fine. This challenge was never about me in the first place. I was just the tool. I was just the example.
Yeah.
So if you really want to see if it's possible, go to the comments. Most of my videos, there's somebody who's going to say, using your tips, I've lost. Coach, I've learned to build a better relationship with food. Coach, for this time, I never went to the gym, but I'm losing weight. You know, so if for me, just take the information.
What are these tips? Let's find out about these tips that you keep putting out there. What are they?
So it's very simple. Most of you are already living the Skora lifestyle. That's what I call it. Losing weight without gymming, dieting, or supplements. Everybody in the studio, did you guys get out of bed today?
Yeah.
Did you walk from your bedroom to your kitchen, or from bedroom to the garage, or from bedroom to the car?
Yeah, for us to get here, we had to. There was no other way.
So there's walking involved.
Sure.
A lot of people do walk, but they don't really have a target.
Sure.
The first habit that we do, have a set step target, right? Okay. Could be 10,000 steps, 13,000 steps. I like to say, take your average and double it or even triple it, right? So if you on average on your phone, it says you walk 3,000 on average, start doing double.
Sure.
Right? Park your car further, wake up 30 minutes in the morning, walk around your area.
Nice.
That's number one. Number two, most of us tend to skip breakfast.
Okay.
Right? So you do kind of fast.
Yeah.
But now, be more strategic and be more intentional about it. We fast for only 5 hours of the day. First 5 hours of the day. So if you wake up at 5 a.m., you'll break your fast at 10. If you wake up at 10, you'll break your fast at 3. That's number two. Number three, everybody kind of knows what they ate yesterday or day before, but they don't know the exact number. They're kind of guessing. I know I ate bread, but was it 2 slices or 3 slices? What we use a simple tracking app, food diary app, that you just put in your foods, right? Now you have accountability on your phone. Now you know exactly what you eat. And now you have the power to know, hey man, I like this burger, but this burger's like 1,000 calories.
Sure.
Let me eat half now and half later. I've just divided my calories. I'm still eating my normal meals.
Sure.
But I have the knowledge. Now you see the numbers.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you. You just changed it for yourself and just stay consistent.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving us those tips. And in terms of gaining your confidence, just one final advice for people out there.
Sticking to your word. If you say you're going to do it, you better do it.
Sure.
But that's why this journey has to be for you. You
Yeah.
know, if it's just for vibes, someone's around the corner, I've got this nice jean on, I look good for
Nice.
that party next 2 months.
That doesn't work.
No. You need to look at yourself as like you have to build up that desire. You have to visualize yourself. The worst case scenario if you don't lose the weight, and the best case scenario. The worst case scenario should be your fear, should be your fuel.
Sure.
The best case scenario, me having the 6-pack, having the energy, having energy to play with my kids,
Yes,
having the
absolutely.
clarity.
Yeah.
That is the internal motivation for you to keep going, because challenges are part of the journey, but you need that internal motivation.
All right, quickly, we asked to wrap up. What are your socials?
PT Online Coach on every social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. I post every day. You need those constant reminders. I post 3 times a day.
Okay.
No excuse.
Sure.
Just go to my page. You'll be reminded of your journey.
Wow. All right, Kopano Mokhele, that's him letting us know exactly where we can find him, but also making us understand a little bit better that the journey of weight loss and weight gain is more attainable than we think, in fact, and the journey of weight loss can actually, just be in part of your daily habits and not just, going to follow this new person who does these really impossible exercises that you think you can do overnight. Really great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 11:31 Central Africa time. Let's bring back Musibudi Makura for our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So things are looking like this at the moment between South Africa as well as New Zealand in the match out in India at the ODI Women's World Cup. It was New Zealand who earlier won the toss and elected to bat first. So South Africa will bowl first in this encounter against New Zealand in the second match of the ODI Women's Cricket team. Of course, South Africa coming into this one having been beaten by 10 wickets by England in their first match last week Friday, and South Africa's Proteas wicketkeeper Sinalo Jafta has urged her side to maintain strict discipline when they face off with New Zealand in the second ODI match. Jafta was the only batter, by the way, to reach double figures with 22 runs just last week, and the team now aims for a stronger showing in their second match. Aware of the White Ferns' threat, Jafta emphasised the need for tight bowling to stay in control of the game.
No, I think for us, we know that as a bowling unit, to be really disciplined in our lines. You have the likes of Amelia Kerr, you have Susie Bates, you have Sophie Devine that have been playing for a really long time. But also you're not underestimating your Georgia Pilmer, your Greens, your Easy Gates, she came off. And I think when you look at that, for us as a bowling unit is to be very disciplined in how we go about our things.
So with India now lying wait in the third match for South Africa on Thursday, Jafta knows just how important it is for them to win against the New Zealand side to get their campaign off to a perfect start. She, however, made it clear that they are focused now on this game against New Zealand and are not looking too far ahead to Thursday.
Every game is important, and I think playing each team, we literally have to take it one game at a time. And I mean, our next opposition is New Zealand. We're not looking ahead. We know that when it comes to being tactical, they're probably high up there. So we have to bring in falls. And I mean, coach has said, leave everything behind. Tomorrow is another opportunity. And I mean, a lot of different individuals will pick up their hands in tomorrow's game.
India, meanwhile, thumped arch rivals Pakistan by 88 runs in a Women's World Cup clash played last night, and it was marred by controversy as players refused to shake hands at the Colombo R. Madassa Stadium yesterday. So the two captains avoided the customary handshake at the toss, and there were hardly a glance exchanged during play. So once the formalities were done, both sides made a beeline in their dressing rooms, skipping the traditional post-match greetings. A frosty end to a heated encounter. The animosity that brewed during the recent Men's Asia Cup in Dubai seemed to now spill over to the women's fixture played in Colombo yesterday. On to football news now. Egyptian giants Pyramids FC underlined their title credentials with a dominant 3-0 victory over Rwanda's APR in Cairo on Sunday, completing a 5-0 aggregate triumph to book their place in the second preliminary round of the Total Energies Champions League. Now goals from Mustafa Abdal Raouf Zico, Ahmed Atif Kwatam, as well as Mohamed Hamdi sealed a comfortable night for the reigning African champions, who were rarely troubled by the visitors at the Air Defence Stadium. So having already won 2-0 in Kigali thanks to a brace from Congolese striker Fiston Mayela, title holders Pyramids FC controlled the return leg from the outset. Now the victory sets up second preliminary clash against Ethiopian Insurance as Pyramids continue their campaign to defend their historic CAF Champions League crown, won in their first ever try in playing in the continental football just last season. And finally, Mercedes will take Formula One back to South Korea for the first time in 12 years with a show run in Yongin next week, and team principal Toto Wolff thinks it's high time the sport again made an annual visit to the country. Now the team will head to Korea on a high after George Russell gave them a second win of the season at Sunday's Singapore Grand Prix, one of the only 3 East Asian stops on the current 24-race calendar, along with Japan as well as China. So South Korea hosted 4 Grand Prix races at Yeongam from 2010 to 2013, and Wolff strongly now believes the tech-savvy population would embrace the product Formula One has become over the last 10 years. So that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. Just a quick update regarding the cricket. South Africa have gotten 1 wicket of Susie Bates as she went out for a duck in the first over, courtesy of an LBW that from a former captain of the side, Marizan Kamp. So at the moment, New Zealand 5 for the loss of 1 wicket after 1 overs, having elected to bowl first in this encounter. Well, that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. More sporting updates coming up in the next hour for Channel Africa Sport. I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo kwa tulibwanji ndi
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you so much, Musibudi. Once again, let's get our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Good morning. The Libyan state-run National Oil Corporation, NOC, says the North African branch of Italian energy company Eni has resumed its exploration drilling in an offshore area northwest of Libya after a 5-year hiatus. In 2024, Eni and British oil giant BP resumed exploration in Libya after onshore drilling was halted in 2014, the year when the North African country's civil war erupted and divided the country between 2 administrations. NOC says Eni resumed operations in a well where drilling operations were halted in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In East Africa, Kenyan President William Ruto says the country is setting up a sovereign wealth fund and an infrastructure fund to invest in key sectors without repeating a debt binge that has strained public finances in recent years. The East African nation has one of the highest debt repayments to revenue ratios on the continent after it ramped up borrowing to construct infrastructure over the past decade. Ruto says lawmakers have pushed through a law governing privatization of state assets, giving the government an opportunity to raise funds to set up the 2 vehicles. The African Union Commissioner for Agriculture, Moses Vilakati, has bemoaned the low usage of fertilizer on the continent, saying this has resulted in high food imports. At least $100 billion is spent on imports per year in Africa, yet the continent has the capacity to adequately produce its own food. Vilakati also called for the development of universal fertilizer blending standards that will deal with fake fertilizer imports. Vilakati says when it comes to fertilizer applications in Africa in general, there are very few countries that are able to meet the expected standards.
We are still far below 50 kgs per hectare in terms of application country per country. I think there are probably less than 10 countries that have met that. Yet when we look at Europe, Europe is already applying about 100 to 120. With us in Africa, only less than 10 countries actually applying 50 kg. How are we able to compete?
Japanese stocks have hit a record high after the country's ruling Liberal Democratic Party named Sanae Takaichi as its new leader. This move has positioned the pro-business politician to be Japan's next prime minister. Takaichi, who has held senior government roles including Minister for Economic Security and Internal Affairs, is known for his support of higher government spending and lower borrowing costs. She is a long-time advocate of aggressive government spending and monetary easing to stimulate growth. The BBC's Suranjana Tewari reports.
Sanae Takaichi is a veteran lawmaker and a devotee of the Abenomics policies of the late Shinzo Abe, which include boosting the economy with aggressive spending and lower interest rates. That kind of spending shift could spook investors who are already worried about Japan's debt load, which is among the highest in the world. Takaichi will have to regain trust from a public angered by rising prices and drawn to opposition groups promising stimulus and clampdowns on migrants in the world's fourth largest economy.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,470 naira, Botswana 13 pula 20. Kenya, the dollar is 128 shilling 49, Zambia 23 kwacha 78. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 33, in Russia 81 rubles 93, India 88 rupees 72, China 71.13, South Africa $1 is 17 rand 21. $1 is 74 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,927, platinum at $1,603 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $65.20 a barrel. That is all from me. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruk Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Life is sweet when the sun up, like the trees in the summer. When the seas are troubled, and then we all need someone. My life, no be smart enough. We all strive, to live life in that comfort. So forgive me if I fumble, 'cause I'm only human. Somebody move that I don't know. Hit them with a 7-box combo. Always looking out my window, paranoid and confused. I'm not sure anymore who is knocking at my door. And so as the day comes, as I go on, protect me, Lord, I cannot trust my neighbors. Be my savior when that day comes. Defend me from my enemies and my neighbors. Put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it. In a private plane, I land on it. Lily hood and they call me Bankole. 'Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam style, put the gang on them. Twist my fingers up and bang on them. Lily hood, Lily hood, Lily hood. Different type of evil available, and any one of them can kill you. At any time, anything can happen. No, any one of us could have been pop smoke. We must go when the most high colors. So I'm paranoid, borderline bipolar. Wear my vest and clean my corner. I ain't going out, brother. You can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it. In a private plane, I land on it. Lily hood and they call me Bankole. 'Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam style, put the gang on them. Twist my fingers up and nobody know tomorrow. Choro ka choro. And if a boy feel macho, make him lick red like a tomato. If him not dead, then him comatose. No go for full. As the day comes, as I go on, I know what over me, oh Lord. I cannot trust my neighbor. As the day comes, as I go on, I know what over me, oh Lord. I cannot trust my neighbor. You ask them, but that forget me come from that. You up on that for that. You ask them, but that forget me come from that. You can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stamp on it. In a private plane, I land on it. They hood and they call me bank on it. Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam Style with a gang on them. Twist my fingers up and bang on them. You can bank on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stamp on it. In a private plane, I land on it. They hood and they call me bank on it. Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam Style with a gang on them. Twist my fingers up and bang on it. You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stamp on it. In a private plane, I land on it. They hood and they call me bank on it. Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam Style with a gang on them. Twist my fingers up and bang on them.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
Angizokutengela ibhanoyi, angizokutengela ibhanoyi, angizokutengela ibhanoyi, my love, angizokutengela ibhanoyi, my love, angizokutengela ibhanoyi, my love, angizokutengela ibhanoyi, my love. Awunoma bengathini wena ungowami nabaphansi sebevumile awungithi sekulotshiwe ikhanda livele lidume uma ungekho eduze ismail sami saziwa kuwe wesithathe my love you osebethamile baningi bethi sohlukana kodwa lento yenzekile obathi baby ungidlisile kanti abazi ukuthi mina ngisemathandweni wowindizamshini baby angizokutengela sandla sami angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love ufike empilweni yami nibethe bhemile izinto sezingcono umalamba nuvukile shuthi kusanda wena dali into ebidali ngiyokuthanda ngiyoza ngivele egaleni indlezi ishaya kancane mangiziphimbo lwakho sandwa ngikhathale ngiyohlala ngingowakho wowindizamshini dali angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love angizokutengela ibhanoyi my love angizokutengela ibhanoyi
It's Black Diamond with Iba Noi. Before that, brought in Burner Boy, Bank on it. It's 11:50 Central Africa time. You're still tuned into On the Move. It's not over until it's over. So head on over to our X page at Channel Africa 1 and participate on the Move poll.
Yeah, we're asking there, should men who are not primary caregivers be entitled to parental leave? Let us know there. And remember, after the show, go to our YouTube page. Some of the interviews are already up there, so we make sure that we give you a multi-dimensional media experience. If you miss the show, you can go to our podcasts on our website, or you can go to our Channel Africa YouTube page and you can check out all our content there, so you never miss out here on Channel Africa.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Hey, that's Mastonga, and that one is music from Chad with one titled Miriam. It takes us to 11:55 Central African time. I was nearly saying, let's start the show all over again. Let's start. Let's go for another 3 hours, Bali.
We can do it.
Well, we've got Lulu Kabu joining us right now to give us the latest of what's happening on the continent. You know, we keep you updated from 1 o'clock, from midday rather, to 1 o'clock. My time referencing today as we wrap up the show
Benji.
is, I'm going to get, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I've got two beautiful ladies in the house and I'm like, hey, Angsaboni, Hey Lulu, what can we expect from the show?
It's a happy Monday. All right, so today we're focusing on a number of big stories, apart from Peter Mutharika of Malawi being sworn in as the president of a country. That's one big story. And then the story with Israel. We're going to be speaking to Israel-based national spokesperson of the South African Zionist Federation, Rolene Marks. This is just to unpack, the fact that they're holding a memorial and to commemorate those who were killed by Hamas. With everything that is happening in Israel, Gaza, and we'll be unpacking a lot of that and just basically touching on what has happened so far. The other day, I think it was Saturday, I saw that, or was it yesterday, Hamas has agreed to release the remaining Israelis who were kidnapped. So it's going to be an interesting one to unpack and what this memorial will mean for them. So Rolene will unpack that for us. And, as we keep saying every day, I guess it's a negotiation, and hopefully the rest of the people that have been kept at the prisons in Israel will be released. That includes a number of South Africans that we're hoping will be returned to their home countries. And a Nigerian lawyer, Frank Tiete, has raised an alarm on the increase of criminality in the capital, Abuja, Nigeria. So we'll unpack that and find out exactly why he's highlighting this, what is happening, and what measures are being put in place to deal with the crisis.
All right, we look forward to that, getting the latest news. We've got a big team stationed here in Johannesburg, South Africa, but we also have correspondents in different parts of the continent. So making sure that you have the latest news. Do stay with us right here on Channel Africa.
Thank you so much. Have yourself a great day. We'll leave you with this one. Narianga. This is Zuchu. Have a good day.
God bless everyone.